Elsik takes game 1 with Ironworks combo. I would assume this is a fine matchup for KCI.
Yeah, Hollow One doesn't really get to fight you, certainly game 1 in a lot of the ways that you care about.
But Richard's sideboard, 3 Leyline of the Void.
That's a huge
That is huge.
Yes.
So I actually think right now Ironworks, I know it's bringing up a lot of great results. I think it's still a bit of a flash in the pan here, even though I love the deck, in that it's just like it's a tier 2 deck with a great metagame position. I find it has difficulty fighting through certain forms of hate, and Leyline of the Void is one of the ones I'd be very concerned about.
Right. Stony Silence is a big problem. Rest in Peace is a similar problem, though Engineered Explosives on Rest in Peace is not that hard to assemble.
Right.
But Explosives for Leyline, that's tough. And Rick has it.
Leyline of the Void in play. Boom, square player has pre-game effects.
Ooh.
Yeah. Checking off all the hard ones. And Faithless Looting from Richard. And this even can hurt cards. Remember, Zach's deck plays 4 Terrarian, 4 Chromatic Star. Those both have the clause of you draw a card when they get the graveyard. Okay. No, this card, it's...
Yikes.
Yeah.
And here's the other advantage we have. Leyline of the Void, as opposed to Rest in Peace, is Kivett gets to have a graveyard. He has that Faithless Looting waiting to be flashbacked. He has
and a turn 1 and a turn 1 Hollow One. Let's just do it all.
Yeah, Cycle Street.
Oh, I got that square too.
Ooh, you're going off. I have Player Cycle as a card. The Street Wraith, that popped off, so that's a square for me.
So the question is whether Zach has boarded in any of his 4 Natures claims. I'm not sure in the dark you do against Hollow One.
I mean, you at least know they're live against Hollow One, right?
Okay, yeah.
Leyline of the Void's not an uncommon sideboard card. Red-black as a color pair doesn't get a ton of options. I think it's relatively common that the Hollow One deck would have Leylines.
But keep in mind, Ironworks combo cannot win through Leyline. It's just, you know...
They can attack with Scrap Trawler.
That's not a thing. This deck doesn't have a plan B. Here is Burning Inquiry. And Zach has the Nature's Claim for Leyline. Did board him in. Heads up.
Now let's see if he can have a functioning hand at the end of this.
Yeah, and that shows the respect. There was a turn 1 Hollow One, and Zach's still claiming the Leyline.
Right. You have time against Hollow One. You know? You can take 4 hits on the chin if nothing else is happening. There's a Flamewick Phoenix already available to Kivett, so it's not going to be that much, but you have 3 turns theoretically here.
The claim is exile, right?
And Kivett here looks like another Leyline hit in the bin. It's a little bit tougher to cast for 4 than it is to put on the battlefield for free.
Well, he did get a Bloodghast into the graveyard now, and his land drop for the turn was a fetch land, so he'll be able to get his Bloodghast back.
Yeah. And he'll be bringing back that Flamewake Phoenix as well.
Oh, yeah.
So he has pretty reasonable closing speed here.
Yeah, this is a great setup for Richard.
Elsik still just has an empty Tendo Ice Bridge for his lands.
Big win on Elsik's side that he did have one of those Nature's Claims. Leylines can shut him down. We'll see what his combo speed is now.
I appreciate that Elsik has 2 Ice Bridges instead of Ether Hubs.
Oh, I've had this debate many times.
That card is tougher to track down.
All right. So here's the debate. So I've gotten into this one. Some of my players say this is worse because if you have 2 Aether Hubs, then if an Aether Hub gets blown up, then the next one gets 2 energy.
Yeah.
But the advantage for Ice Bridge is if your opponent's playing Beast Within. Because see, with Aether Hub, they can Beast Within your Aether Hub with the trigger on the stack, and then you never get the mana. Tendo Ice Bridge has no such problem.
I bet that one's come up a lot.
I mean, neither of these ever come up. But you get into this semantics debate with someone, and if you want to tell them my Ice Bridge is better, then you start talking about Beast Within.
If there's one thing Magic players enjoy, it's wasting their time talking about nonsense.
Yeah, this is a good one. You can waste a lot of time on Tendo Ice Bridge or Aether Hub.
And small thing in that last turn, you mentioned that Kivett had the fetch land for that Bloodghast, though you'll notice Bloodghast is not on the battlefield.
Oh, no, it's not there.
So we missed that one.
That's going to be that could cost him, with Zach at 14, that might cost him a turn off the clock, actually.
If things play out without any blockers or removal spells and Kivett just plays a land here, the clock is the same.
So
but you're missing 2 points this turn.
He needs to remember it this time. There we go. Okay. He knows he missed it, but I don't think it matters.
Right. Ooh, a spell being flashback. That's a bingo square for me. Got that somewhere. Yep. Got 3 in a row.
I'm looking at player controlling 5 or more artifacts or enchantments.
Ooh,
Zach's on 3.
Unstable basic land as well. Still got that 3 or more historic cards.
Zach down to 8 on that attack. There's 8 power in play. Let's see if he can do something.
And he does not have the mana to play Ironworks this turn without land plus Mox Opal.
No, so a Scrap Trawler as a blocker could perhaps buy him a turn. Now there's a Bloodghast in Richard's Yard, and those have haste now, so that and another Flamewake Phoenix would win through a Scrap Trawler. Zach will cycle through a Terrarian for double green. He looks like he doesn't have the Trawler just yet. Maybe he's digging for that Opal you were talking about. Buried Ruin. Tap. There is Scrap Trawler. Okay. He's got the blocker set up. So Richard will need a Flamewake Phoenix or a removal spell or another Bloodghast to be able to make lethal here.
Yep. There's a few things he could have that's lethal this turn.
Those 2 points of damage he missed really do hurt here now.
Right.
Because he's going to get Zach to 2.
Yeah, he doesn't have the backup.
So we'll see. And he's got Lightning Bolt.
Forget about it.
All right.
Too easy.
Richard going to bring it to a 3rd game. Good recovery. Great hand.
Yep. And he'll be looking for a Leyline in the opener for game 3 here as well.
And now Zach knows they're there. He saw one be put into play. He also saw another one get binned off Burning Inquiry. So if Zach, what I think is interesting, he may not have boarded in all 4 Nature's Claims. He certainly will board all 4 in now.
Right. Yeah, just with Hollow 1, there's an argument to go light, try to slow the Hollow 1 player down a little bit. But once you know there's Leyline, then for sure you should be reaching heavy on Nature's Claim.
So the rest of Zach's sideboard, Ryan, is a Defense Grid, 2 Gear per Aether Grids, 2 Guttural Response, 4 Lightning Bolts, 4 Nature's Claims, a Wormcoil Engine, and a copy of the Antiquities War. Now, I really like Nature's Claim here, but do you like Wormcoil Engine in the matchup?
I think it's a little slow. I'm not terribly versed into how likely you are to combo off from the starting point if you have an Ironworks on the battlefield. What I will tell you is that if you don't have Ironworks and you're casting Wormcoil Engine for 6 mana or 5 lands plus a Mox Opal, that's too slow.
Yeah. If someone somehow gets in play here, it'll win, right?
Well, in most games.
Yeah.
One of the issues is that Flameblade of Death has Menace, Flamewake Phoenix has Flying. So if you get Wormcoil online, it's not just that you can gain 6 life on the following turn. You have to just not lose to these evasive creatures. Once you start connecting, you win. But it's not just you set it up and you can block, because you can't block everything. It's kind of dicey. I'm not too interested in it.
All right, that's fair enough.
If it's the case where you're only 60, 70% to combo off from the point of having an Ironworks, then the Wormcoil gives you something on that turn. If you're casting at turn 3 or turn 4, the Wormcoil Engine is likely good.
It gives you something to do in the face of Leyline of the Void. Does that matter?
That's true. I still think that the argument that's really slow, if they have Leyline and you have Ironworks, I think that's the game where Wormcoil can actually win.
Yeah, but that's a lot of ifs.
Right. Yeah. Relatively large ask.
Now Richard Kivett's sideboard. 2 Engineered Explosives, 2 Fatal Push, 2 Grim Lavamancer, 3 Leyline of the Void, 2 Liliana of the Veil, 4 Thoughtseize. I want the Leylines, and I want the Thoughtseizes too.
Yes. There are hands where Thoughtseize can line up really poorly against Ironworks. They show you a bunch of Terrarians and Ichor Wellsprings. But if you get the Trawlers out of the hand, get the Ironworks out of the hand, that can be a huge win for the Hollow 1 deck.
Yeah, make him find another one. Looks like Zach keeping, Richard shipping.
It's tough to keep hands that either aren't extremely explosive or have Leyline of the Void. I would expect Kivett to be mulliganing pretty aggressively in this matchup.
Yeah, last game Kivett had both.
Yes. And the Hollow 1 deck mulligans reasonably well. It's at least at the point where the deck has to mulligan a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Hollow 1 in a lot of ways is a Dredge light style deck. And Dredge is one of the best mulliganing decks in any format.
Right.
Hollow 1 can feel the same way.
Yes.
A great Burning Inquiry, and you won't care that you kept 5-card hands.
Right. The odds that your hands are totally busted with Hollow 1 relative to Dredge and say I'm mulligan to 5, Hollow 1 does that a little bit worse. But it's still fully capable of just going off with a low starting threshold for cards in hand. In particular, in these games, we have that ley line that makes things that much harder for Elsik. You want to mulligan just a little bit more.
See if Richard likes the 6, evaluating that. Gonna keep. We'll get our ley line check in just a second here. Richard has kept on top, and no ley line, says go.
He didn't look too thrilled about the opener, but he also is not a terribly emotional guy.
Chromatic Sphere for Zach to start out. Oh, and Mox Opal online.
Is Darksteel Citadel a historic card? Do you count
Did
that?
they cast it? Is it
It
cast
says,
in one
it says
turn?
played.
Yeah.
All right, you play lands. It doesn't say cast. I'm checking my bingo
All right.
square. What's happening?
Cycle for Richard off Street Wraith. Burning Inquiry. Love this card. Who knows what's going to happen?
I strongly dislike this card.
I was saying my favorite thing is playing it on Magic Online because it all resolves immediately. So you tap a red, and then you just have to figure out what just happened.
Yes. I will say
Everything's different. There's a bunch of stuff in your hand that wasn't there.
when it's immediate and it's bad, I'm upset. Like when I mulligan on Magic Online, I kind of wish there was like an animation so that it shows me that it at least shuffled.
Well, Richard did not discard a hollow one, so maybe he drew one. Ooh, there isn't. There is one. There we go. Another turn 1 hollow one. Little empty guy there. 4/4.
4/4s on this first turn of the game, pretty powerful.
Buried Ruin for Elsik into Mind Stone, setting up for a good KCI turn. Does he have the KCI, though? Here's another Mind Stone. He only has 2 cards left. Make that 1 card left with Pyrite Spellbomb. His last card's a Grove of the Burn Willows.
What he has assembled is a high threshold of artifacts on the battlefield and a lot of redraws.
I'm checking 5 or more artifacts or enchantments. He certainly controls that.
All right. If I cheese the historic cards on the turn before, I got it there.
Richard's going to Thought Seize that Grove of the Burn Willows. By that I mean it's going to brick.
Yeah. And this is where, obviously, a black-red deck can't play counterspells, but counterspells are abstractly better than Thoughtseize in the matchup.
Right. And it looks like he's going to Burning Inquiry. So, Ryan, if that was his line, I actually think you want to Burning Inquiry before Thought Seizing.
I agree. Part of the problem is you can lose your Thoughtseize. That's probably what Kivett's justification is there. But the thing is...
That's a good thing.
Yeah, if you lose the Thoughtseize, whatever. You know, Elsik might lose his good card and end up with something bad. If you get the Thoughtseize at the end of it, then if there's something there after the Inquiry, you get to hit it.
I think you'd want to do it because your opponent has a 1-card hand. So if you cast Burning Inquiry at the end of it, your opponent 75% of the time will just have a random card. Mm-hmm. And do I want to Thoughtseize a random card? Only kind of.
If the Thoughtseize hits a spell, that means Elsik just gets milled for 3 off of the Inquiry.
Yeah.
That also makes some sense.
And now we don't know what's in Elsik's hand. Richard did discard a Bloodghast that turn as he attacks for 4.
Yeah, finally generating some value. Elsik still just with that Grove of the Burn Willows.
Oh, he still has the Grove? That's excellent. Draws. Looks like another Buried Ruin.
And, no Ironworks was flipped over with the Inquiry, so the Ruin does not do too much.
I suppose the Buried Ruin in someone's deck, you got to be careful with those Burning Inquiries.
Yeah, that is scary.
Zach will filter through a Chromatic Sphere, making a green mana. He draws. Not a good look just yet. Looks like Inventor's Fair was picked up.
All right. That means if he wants to wait, he can go ahead and track down an Ironworks here.
Won't even take very long. He has 4 mana this turn.
Yep. And he doesn't even need the floating mana. He has the 2 Mind Stones, the other land, the Mox Opal, so he can just leave that up on Kivett's turn. From 16, he's not going to lose the game.
He's going to cycle through Pyrite Spellbomb. So one of the issues here, Ryan, is that he's not just 1 KCI away from winning. His board is Kind of needs two things, like a KTA and a Scrap Trawler.
Right, and he also has Mind Stones and Moxo, but he doesn't have like an Iker Wellspring where getting the KCI online immediately would give him a redraw. He has to work a little bit harder for that.
He has to Buried Ruin it back. The pieces are all there, but it's just slow as we go back over to Richard's turn.
See Elsik there kind of splitting up artifacts and graveyards, so if he starts going off with the Ironworks, he can work a little bit faster. Kivett comes across with the hollow one. Elsik down to 12.
Love to get some more threats in here. Here's Bloodghast. I think the question here is, can Kivett represent 12 damage this turn? Here is a Tassiger.
That gets him to 10.
Yeah, 2 more will do it. He'd really like to only give Zach 1 turn as opposed to 2. Now, remember, Inventor's Fair, if Zach doesn't use it this turn, will put him up to 13.
I would be surprised to see him not activated here.
Well, he might Buried Ruin. You're right.
To get back Chromatic Star. Not the most
He'd
exciting
get back Iker.
ruin.
He'd get back Iker Wellspring. But yeah, you're right. He'll crack Inventor's Fair. See if he wants Trawler or Krark Clan. He'll get Krark Clan Ironworks. Now we'll see if Zach has a combo set up.
Yeah. Yeah, between the two, Ironworks can do things without Trawler. Trawler doesn't do much without Ironworks. Yeah, Ironworks is just the card that gets the engine going, so I like this tutor a lot. He does want to find things like more Chromatic Stars, Iker Wellspring, so he just can freely redraw with the Ironworks.
I had a square of Inventor's Fair gains a life.
So close.
Didn't happen.
So close.
So close. Would have been 4 in a row. It's a good square.
It is a good square.
Later. Got to find some Lantern. Actually, Lantern players don't really do that anymore because they all play Whir.
That's
really
true.
just Ironworks.
It's pretty free to have Inventor's Fair in the deck.
Here is Krark Clan Ironworks from Elsik. Is this a combo turn? I don't know that it is.
It still has that Grove and a Buried Ruin in hand, so those cards aren't playing.
No, it looks like he's going for something. He's drawn something here. It looks like he has Scrap Trawler. He picked it up during his one of those draws. So now we are looking at a combo. 1 colorless floating. It's not rolled up yet, but it's pretty good. Here's Chromatic Star, no colorless floating. Sacrifices it. 2. Gets back Opal, draws a card. Yeah, this should be good.
Right. He just has so many resources and so many redraws off of this engine.
Yep. Opal makes him 5 mana.
Those Mind Stones minimally can get back Chromatic Star, put him up a mana, draw another card.
Yeah. Mind Stone up to 7 mana, getting back Star. His limit here is number of draws. So Star will draw him a card, getting back Opal. Right now we're going to kind of just like, I'm going to ignore the mana a little bit. He's got plenty.
Right. Looks like another Ironworks available in the hand, so in desperation, he could sacrifice the Trawler, or like get the Ironworks online, use a Trawler, set that up.
Yeah, what it actually do is they'll take the Ironworks and just go straight from 4 to 2 and get back a Wellspring in his graveyard, because card draw is the one thing he's limited on. That's the right play here.
Right.
And this should, I'd be very surprised if he misses from this point. He's drawn an Iker Wellspring as well. And now he's going to demonstrate. You can see he's playing face up. That's him showing a lot of confidence in him not missing. Mere Retriever should set things up.
Yeah, Retriever, a ton of value.
Yep.
And
Retriever plus Wellspring will actually just get the rest of the deck here.
Yep.
And Richard will extend the hand. 2-1, Zach Elsik defeats Richard Kivett. Richard wants to present a clock to get